7 days ago, the silver treader rose from a classified hadopelagic trench from the Pacific Ocean. Painted on it was the blood of 3 scientists that were cradled in the submarine. Their bodies were nowhere to be found. 6 days ago, the Caspian cell, armed with the blessings of science, disembarked into the trench. 5 days ago, it emerged with a catch. 4 hours ago, everyone in the facility was reclaimed by the sea. The hadopelagic zone is the deepest region of the ocean, tucked sweetly in deep trenches, deeper than the darkness of the abyssal zone. Rapid scientific developments have allowed marine biologists access to the most mysterious parts of the sea floor. Underwater facilities were quickly built in the mesopelagic zones, around 200 to 1,000 meters into the depths. You are a marine biologist of the Emboro Deep Facility, conducting research on deep-sea crustaceans. Your work has always been mundane. You collect samples and study them. You are nothing like the biologists with a death wish who plunge into deeper waters. The ones who bring a gun out for krakens before themselves. Each sample you receive is larger than the last. It makes sense. Deep-sea giganticism makes an organism more efficient. Better metabolism, better gathering of food, greater nutrients once it falls to the seafloor. Large isopods are burned into the back of your skull already. The silver treader was going back into the fray to capture footage of large eels. Rumors circulated that they were eating the waste propelled by Emboro Deep. You remember seeing Makoa, Barrow, and Lewis before their descent, and you cannot get the visions of their remains painted on the front of that submarine out of your head. It was like the smears of a wild animal, but you know it was done with intention. 3 ventured back in to find evidence of the deep end to capture what had brought them to their demise. It was difficult to describe this creature at first. Humanoid in some aspects, but nonetheless alien. The higher-ups were unsure what to name it. The process usually takes long and it's bureaucratic. It was relatively docile, but would become aggressive when any tests that were not purely observational were attempted. Multiple faculties were injured in attempts to take its blood. What conclusions were made were slim. It is a male of its species and shares characteristics with cutthroat eels. Something under its skin makes it bioluminescent. Those who captured it reported that it only began to glow when arriving at the facility. It does not communicate, but it seems to understand human language and the meaning behind words. Any attempts to make it communicate have been futile. It is ignoring the scientists. Its primary role is as a scavenger. Considering the death of 3 scientists of the silver treader, it may also be a predator, and it has not eaten since arrival. It has been contained to a tank meant for dozens of animals. Multiple numbers for its full length have been thrown around. 50 feet in length, 75 feet. It is large. That is all that matters. Most formal business surrounding the creature had to wait. Word gets to the outside world only through monthly supply runs. Everyone reveled in the discovery of a new species. They were the only ones to know about it. The facility collectively named the creature Sin, after the scientific classification, Cinnaphobranchidae. Yeah, and perhaps it was a sin to bring it into Embro Deep. You aren't quite sure what happened or how fast it did. A few hours ago, you had been given a half-dead octopus that was the size of a preteen girl. These things shouldn't be down here. There were a few abnormalities, far too many tentacles, an extra set of eyes, mutations that were otherwise unnecessary. You heard a few rumbles far away that was only natural in the Emboro Deep. Underwater earthquakes and large supply holes often cause rumbles. It was not until someone burst into your room with blood rushing down their arms that you were alarmed. You didn't know who it was before they were dragged back into the darkness. You closed and barred the doors, sitting in the comfiness of your workroom. Against the door, you heard the alarm bells and the screams. Wet, putrid sounds of sea creature flesh and the tearing apart of human tendons. There were a few small implements used to vivisect new specimen that you grabbed to fend for yourself. You knew in a real fight that they would do nothing. Having them, nonetheless, brought you peace. You waited until it was quiet outside, save for the sound of live wires. You opened the door. For now, you could only walk through the carnage. It was hard to see through the flashing of red emergency lights and puffs of steam from broken pipes. Parts of the ceiling have fallen, making the once familiar hallways difficult to navigate. Attention! All personnel must evacuate Embaro Deep facility as quickly and safely as possible. Proceed to an escape pod or submarine located in... The emergency broadcast experiences static and ceases operation. Truth be told, you don't remember these safety procedures. You went over them once when you arrived and never again since. You make your way the way you can. Under rubble, you always found bodies. So many of them. You don't know how you got here, but you feel it does not matter. When you reach the door, left in pristine condition compared to the other wrecked ones, you can feel it. This room is blanketed with the dust of rubble from the shaking of the facility. Otherwise, it is left clean. Papers are still stacked nicely on their desks. The pipes rumble, but they do not burst. And towering above you is the creature in its containment. Its hand rests upon the glass, tail almost wagging when it sees you. This is the first time you've seen it in person. You've seen sketches that look like they were drawn by children as supplemental material. Its eyes follow you as you move across the room and in front of its tank, but its head does not. You stand in front of Sin, who looks down at you with what humans would read as glee on its face. You're the cause of this, aren't you? It moves closer to meet your eyes. Perhaps I did. Its voice rings in your ears, but it does not open its mouth. I do not know your language, but I know your thoughts. Well, you do not want to know what I want to do to the fish person, man. Since you know, well, you're scared. I'm sure me communicating through your mind does not help. That's not fear you're feeling. It's something else entirely, and I am not comfortable talking about it. I have to apologize, but I know you will not forgive me. It is in your complicated nature. You swallow and hold your head in your hands. Blood pulses through your eardrums, and you feel dizzy. You don't have a lot of time to leave this place, human. Everyone else is dead. All that scampers through the corners of your facility are the very beings you captured. Consider it their version of, what is it? Revenge. You swear you see a glisten in its deep eyes. I do not feel a single other soul of your kind with blood that still sings so sweetly. Unfortunately, as much as I was able to rouse the desires of the other creatures of this vessel, to turn them against the evildoers who forced them from their homes, they are all too blinded in their rage to release me. They are animals, after all. They cannot operate the mechanisms. However, you can. I am willing to enter a contract with you, similar to the one you signed when arriving here. Confidential, binding, eternal. There are a set of buttons over by the pipes to my right, your left. Press the red and blue ones at the same time, and you will override the system. The pressure will become too much, and the glass will break. Should you do this for me, I will make sure you make it to land unscathed. You will not tell a soul what happened here. Should you let even an ounce of it leave your body, the weight of the sea will fall once again upon your body, and you will be returned to me. You look to the buttons, and your gaze returns to Sin. Why did you kill them? Are you referring to the 3 who ventured into my territory in hopes of stealing those in my community for your study, your experiments? It was a warning to abandon your sight and return from whence you came. How is what we did any different from what you have done here? I am defending my home, just as you all have done before. You are stealing my children from me. If you release them back to us, they return with permanent wounds, disfigured beyond recognition. How repulsive. You feel vomit building up in the back of your throat. I did what any other creature in my position and power would do. I brought, what is it called? Hell upon your species, just in this instance. I could call upon my distant brothers and sisters to overtake everything you have ever built. We could make it happen, and we could make it swift. To feel the rush that comes from the taste of sweet blood. Sin's voice without an opening mouth is making you uncomfortable. You are not meant to be this far down. When this vessel collapses, you and everybody will collapse alongside it. You will not last even a fraction of a second under the pressure of the water. If you manage to survive for longer than that, then the fear of the darkness will swallow you whole. If you refuse this deal, you will never find your way back. Look at yourself. You're tired. You're about to spill your innards onto the floor. As if on command, you hunch over and vomit all over yourself. It's a mixture of food, water, and viscera. As such, I will leave unscathed in every scenario. This vessel will collapse on itself, and this glass will break, erode, whatever nature decides. I will be hungry, but I will be free. In every scenario, I will return home. The same cannot be said for you. I am practically giving you a gift, even though I should allow a squid to choke you to death in its grasp. I will not bother killing you myself. You cover your mouth and wipe the excess of your vomit from your lips. Take my offer, for your sake. Will you free Sin, Guardian of the Abyss? Yes. Yeah. Oh well. It does not move its mouth, but you know it is smiling. Wise. As I have stated before, if you look towards the pipes, you will see 2 buttons. The damage to your vessel has already overwhelmed these systems. Hold the red and blue ones at the same time for up to 7 seconds. You listen to its instructions, holding the buttons for as long as you hold your breath. You hear the creaking of the Ambaro deep from the room. It's suffocating. The glass starts to break. Then it shatters completely. The room immediately fills with tens of thousands of gallons of water. You are swept up in the rush, taken completely into the sea. I hope, for your sake, that we never have to meet again. You aren't sure how you got here, washed up upon the beach of an unknown country, risen from the Hadal zone 9,000 meters down, relatively unscathed. You spit the remaining seawater and sand out of your mouth, and of course, you vomit once more. You do what you know, and you do what you can. You make your way inland, as far as you can, and hide yourself within a community. If you are found by anyone associated with Embero Deep, you know you will be forced to tell them of what happened, one way or another. And you know you will be carried back out to sea. Those glowing eyes are in every dream, after all. Okay, so apparently the game closes itself off once you actually reach one of the endings, so I'm gonna see what happens if I say no. I will refuse. I do not need the help of a murderer, of an alien with bloodlust to find my way home. You hear an echoing hum in the room of satisfaction. I see. Selfish to your core, even now. If that is the case, then we have no reason to continue this dialogue. You feel a weight being lifted from your mind. You rub your temples and your eyes as if you were once again a small child. For a few more minutes, you stare at Sin. It only stares back. Your communication has been severed. Finally, you swallow and continue your way through the Embero Deep. Eventually, as you walk cautiously through the carnage, you find a submarine. It's the same make and model as the Silver Treader. You've never driven a submarine before, but the escape subs have special mappings to take you safely to land. All you need to do is flick the emergency switch and go on your way. Now, you wait. Allow the submarine to safely disembark and take you to shore. You're tired, and you allow yourself a quick respite. A short nap is all you need. The August 15th shipment comes to a crumbled facility. There's nothing to recover. All files are lost to the sea, their papers drained of all ink. The bodies have been washed away. At least, what's left of them. The supply team makes a conclusion that an explosion of an unknown source caused the collapse of the Embero Deep. Any submarines not taken have sunk to the sea floor. And there are no known survivors. Alright, so that was Sin. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this game for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. This was made by the same developer as Art Without Blood, and I will admit, one of the reasons why I played it was because of Hot Fishman. Look, a lot of people have been showing me like Hot Fishman on my feed, and you know, I'm tempted. I am tempted, okay? But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day, and as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.